May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. Amen.
Do we have proof of publication?
Yes, we have it.
Attorney, if you would like to swear everyone in.
Would all those wishing to speak on today's items please rise and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you. Deputy Administrator, any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
Mayor, good morning. Yes, and I'll ask Wendy to run you through the add delete sheet as well as the request for postponement that we received last night as well.
Okay, on the consent agenda, item number 3, DOA CA 2025-502, Del Taco, West Palm Beach. We have a modification to Exhibit C1, specifically to add engineering condition 6, with a slight modification at the end to say of the first certificate of occupancy for Building B. On the regular agenda, B4, PDD 2025-1102, the Walmart Neighborhood Market. Modifying Exhibit C, specifically engineering condition 2, to add and delete language, and engineering condition number 4, as well as striking out and adding language. Under E, land development abandonment applications, we've received additional correspondence, including one received last night that we were adding into the record. Item number 10, LGA West Boynton Ranches. There's an amendment to the agenda for the correction to the acreage as 32.35. And this item also, last night, we received a request for postponement that you can either take up under the postponement or at time of the item number 10. And then finally, under workshop agenda, item 11, Palm Tran for the fiscal year 2027 budget, to have it at a time certain, 1:30 p.m., and that this is a workshop item.
Is that all, Wendy?
And that would be it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Marino, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 6-0. And please note for the record that Commissioner Sachs has joined us. We are going to move to the postponement.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
You may.
May we have the motion to receive and file the proof of publication?
I have a motion by Commissioner Marino, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 6-0. Thank you so much. Postponement.
Yes, so the first item, Seminole Orange Plaza DOAW 2025-967, postponed to June 17th administratively. No motion is required. And then item 10, LGA 2025-00012, West Boynton Ranches. The applicant submitted a request, so if you'd like them to come to the podium, a motion would be required.
To postpone that item.
Yes.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward. Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Marino to postpone.
Yes, and I believe we do have 2 cards on that one, if you want them to speak.
On the postponement,
Yeah.
please. Yes. And if both people who put in a card would take each podium, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We got
we have 4, not 2.
I'm sorry.
All right, so we have Barbara Roth, Kelly Bayless, Linda Smith, and David Scholzen.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. I'm a Florida girl, so this rain is great. You know, it's really good. We support the postponement of West Boynton Ranches. We appreciate that this will have some more time to be reviewed by the communities nearby, by Cobra, working closely with the developers. So we thank you for considering the postponement.
Thank you so much. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Kelly Bayless. I'm actually one of the homeowners in the neighborhood in which this is going, and we also thank you for putting the postponement in because we have some things we'd still like to hash out on this one, but we do thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
David Schulson, Cobra delegate from Valencia Reserve, who lives in Valencia Reserve. Valencia Reserve does not oppose this postponement. We also look forward to continuing discussions with the applicant and the Morton team, and we look forward to seeing the commissioners at what I now have learned will be an open houses on June 3rd and I think June 12th. So thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Smith, Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group. I'm kind of opposed to the postponement, but I understand why everyone's for it, just because I keep coming down here, and so do you guys, and it keeps getting postponed. I'm glad that the traffic study was updated, but if they're going to postpone it, I'd like to have them look at the little preserve slice that's there. All that's going to do is increase the property values on either side when they turn it into homes. It's not good enough for any kind of preserve. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 6-0. Moving on to consent. Would anyone like to pull anything off of consent? Okay. I believe there's only one.
One item on consent? Is that Del Taco?
Yes,
Can we pull that?
we can.
Just for a presentation.
Oh, we have two. Excuse me. So we will pull Del Taco from consent. And then the other, the Palm Beach Commons Center is the only thing left. Do I have a motion to approve consent after pulling that?
So moved.
Disclosures on consent. We'll go from right to left. Commissioner Marino? None, thank you. Commissioner Powell?
None, thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward?
No disclosures.
I also have none. Commissioner Flores?
No disclosures.
And Commissioner Sacks?
None.
Perfect. Let's try this again. Do I have a motion to approve consent? Okay. I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 6-0. Do we have any disclosures for Del Taco? Commissioner Marino? No. Commissioner Powell? No. Vice Mayor Woodward? None. I also have none. Commissioner Flores?
No disclosures.
Commissioner Sacks? None. Okay. The floor is yours, Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can we have a presentation by the applicant?
Absolutely, if they are here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
David Millage for the record, for the property owner. Thank you very much. Happy to present this item to the commission. So this is for a Del Taco. It's really a franchise that's been around for a while, but hasn't been in Florida. There are a few locations, however, really none in South Florida. This will be the first one in Palm Beach County. So this is seeking a development order amendment to modify the previous approval. We're seeking a new, a Class A conditional use for a Type 1 restaurant with drive-through. This is an older plaza. It's, you know, a line retail shopping center with a mix of uses of retail, restaurant. I believe there's a place of worship in here. Originally, whenever this was approved, there was, you can call it an out parcel that had additional bays for personal services. So this proposed restaurant is really going in that previously approved out parcel. This is the location of the property. It's on the west side of North Military Trail, south of Community Drive. As I mentioned, this is currently developed. It's essentially an L shape with the out parcel that's kind of shown in this, pumpkin type color. Again, this is the proposed site plan. The right side of the plan is the proposed type 1 restaurant. Now, this is a zoomed in view of the restaurant. So it's seeking 48 seats. We have our required escape lane. We're adding additional landscaping. We have spoken to DOT relating to the driveways. We have discussed different conditions of approval with staff. We are in alignment with everything that staff has proposed for this project. Architecturally, this is their brand standard of architecture. We have reviewed the ULDCs and the requirements. I know Commissioner Pally had a suggestion as it related to the parking lot. We are in agreement with resurfacing the parking lot around this area to make sure that it's comfortable for visitors.
The entrance.
And happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So this is a development order amendment. Originally, there was a 1,380 square foot building there that I guess that was the personal services building that you just referenced. This restaurant is 2,304 square feet with 48 seats. I looked at the parking, and I didn't do all the research, but the number of parking spaces for this particular restaurant, is that the number of parking spaces that are necessary, or do you pick up the additional parking spaces because it's in the MUPD?
So there are these 9 spaces that are to the east of the restaurant, but there's also an entire surface parking lot to the west of it. We do have a crosswalk that would be able to utilize this surface parking lot on the west side. The crosswalk would then go across the drive-through lanes to the front of the restaurant. So it is adequately parked based off of the code.
Thank you. And I saw that's crossing right in front of that dumpster enclosure. All right. I see it's one handicap parking space there, and I think it's 1 space per 25 parking spaces. Is that all that's required, or are there additional handicap parking spaces that may be picked up in the surface parking?
Yeah, so there are additional handicap parking spaces throughout the surface parking lot to service the remainder of the plaza. I believe that there are 3 on the west side, and additional, I believe, 4 on the north part of the surface parking area. Okay. For this restaurant, we did pick up that one that could immediately service the restaurant, but there are additionals throughout the surface parking area.
Great, thank you. Quick question, I'm not very familiar with Del Taco. Is there adequate, I see there's a bypass lane there too. Is there adequate parking or adequate queuing space for these? You said it's 10 queuing stalls, 5 before the menu board, 5 before the window. I don't know Del Taco's brand. I know there's other brands that need the additional queuing. Is that adequate for this particular brand?
Yes,
okay,
it is.
All right, I think we're good. I don't see any. Last question. Here, there's no outdoor seating shown. And you showed 48 seats inside. Is it inside seating only?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you for that.
Appreciate your comments.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I want to thank Commissioner Powell for pulling this item, because yesterday I had some concerns regarding your most southern entryway. I frequent this location. La Fonda is there. It's a well-known Colombian restaurant. And when they have Colombian football, that place gets packed.
Yeah.
And it's a madhouse, to be honest with you. That, I don't know that this parking is adequate for everything that you have going on in there, because anytime I go there, I have to almost park in one of these parking spots that you have here. So I'm concerned about the parking situation, plus that entryway, because if you're going north on Military, the only entryway, that left turn, is the southern entrance. That is, I don't think it's in great conditions, that entrance. I think you guys have to do work there. And now, as you're trekking in, now you're gonna have to sort of like slope down around your parcel to get in where people are now coming out of your establishment. So I'm very concerned about that intersection of, people visiting the plaza plus people exiting your drive-through, plus the parking requirements. Have you put any further consideration into that, how that's gonna be navigated?
Yeah, so we've been working on this project for about 2 years now. We do have limitations as to, the existing conditions as well as just this small out parcel pad. We went through different iterations on the best way to work this. Building placement, queue lanes, escape lanes, and then providing parking, and then, ingress and egress for the overall plaza. This is the best design that we were able to work with our consultants. This has been reviewed by DOT as it relates to the driveway cuts. It's been reviewed by your own professional staff. We do believe that this will provide efficient circulation for the project. As it relates to parking, we do meet all of the minimum requirements of your ULDCs. I'm not sure if we have surplus parking, but I understand concerns of, special events that might be happening within the plaza where there might be additional demand during those, those peak times. But we otherwise do meet the requirements of the code. I'm not sure if there's any suggestions that would make this better. Would be happy to consider those.
So you see how it cuts down on the southern part of the, is there any way to make that straighter instead of having to go around? And the reason I'm saying this, yes, professional staff tell you things are gonna work until it doesn't work. And I'll give you a perfect example. Chick-fil-A on Forest Hill and Jog. When they were coming in, I had big concerns about their queuing system spilling out into the main plaza and causing chaos in that plaza because of the queuing line. They said, no, it would never happen. We have this managed. We can put 50 cars in there. And sure enough, every weekend when I drive by, the queue line is out where I thought it would be. So I understand with professional staff sometimes tells you, yeah, it'll work, but then it doesn't. So that's my concern, that this plaza is chaotic as it is. And that entryway, having to navigate that little dip is of a concern to me. And especially when you have cars coming out, and are they gonna be able to see that there's cars coming out?
No, I think these are good concerns. Yeah, we can look at an opportunity to, lessen that curvature to the south. If it'd be acceptable to the commission, we would consider a condition of approval for us to continue to work with your staff during the final site plan process to better configure this southern portion of it. We did do a queuing analysis with FDOT as it relates to the driveways. They did review it based off of the stacking, the reservoir throat distance, and everyone felt that was adequate. But we're happy to look at this southern driveway a little more.
I'm looking at Scott now. How do we do that as a conditional of work on that little?
Sure, we can come up with a condition, but I'm just curious. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, so when it does come in for final approval, we're all understanding. So right now, that southern driveway, because there's a median, the opening on each side is 20 feet, and that's to appease fire rescue. And I think what you mean when you're heading west into the plaza, it merges to the south, and that's the issue. So to straighten it up, you would have to possibly reduce the width of the drive aisle on each side of that median to shift it to the south. It's something we would have to work with other, divisions to make sure that that's acceptable to them. And they did obtain, as he had mentioned, the FDOT conceptual driveway approval, where they reviewed the driveway connections, and they have certain requirements. I do want to add one of the two things real quick. What they did is they made the drive aisle on the east side of the building one way. So all of the traffic that come in to use the Del Taco would come in, make a right, and either park or enter the drive-through. So that eliminates a conflict point of people heading south on that drive aisle. That was one thing.
People that are in the queue,
Yes.
and then that's my main concern, is as people are pulling out of there, now they're gonna have to interact with the people that are entering, which if you're driving north, that is the only entryway into this plaza. So when I go there, that's pretty much the main entryway into that plaza, are now having to navigate with the people or interact with the people that are exiting the drive-through. And as I mentioned, this plaza is chaotic. And by the way, you have some car washing people there that probably shouldn't be there. So we should also try to clean that plaza up a little bit.
And just one more thing to point out is to the south, there's a drive-through restaurant that has a connection to this driveway connection. And that median is there, I'm sure it was there prior, but it also prevents the users with that cross connection to make a left and get in front of the traffic entering. So I wouldn't think you can get rid of that median opening to reduce the lanes. But with some.
To reduce the lane?
The ingress, well, because I'm thinking to shift the driveway, if you reduce the ingress and egress, you can actually get it south a little bit and straighten it out, add more queuing for the drive-through. But we would have to look at what we call like an auto turn analysis to make sure that vehicles who are using the site can actually function and circulate and get that extra storage.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna yield my time. I see Commissioner Powell and the district commissioners here as well, so I'll let them speak.
Commissioner Weiss, did you want to say something brief before I call on Commissioner Powell? Okay, Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question, Commissioner Flores just talked about the parking, and I see here, and as an MEPD, currently, the plan that you had submitted shows, I think it's 100 and, look at this again. 187 spaces are required for the total MUPD. And the total provided is 189, but I see it's required MUPD max at 6 per 1,000 square feet, 46,741 square feet. The max would be 281, this may be for staff, and then the minimum would be 187, and they meet that at 189. I also saw a site plan in here that was submitted by the applicant that shows a requirement of 210 parking spaces on one of the previous plans. I pulled up the most recently approved plan. It doesn't show that, but the most recently approved plan shows required parking at 181 spaces, with handicap coming to 212 spaces being provided in total. What's, for clarity purposes, I have in front of me the approved plan that's currently on the online. It's 84, what is this? 1984-0079 is the currently approved site plan. The plan that's being proposed by the applicant shows 100 and, so can we help us clarify the number of parking spaces? I might be missing something. I just looked at this briefly.
Good morning, Commissioner Joyce Lawrence. For
Morning,
the
Joyce.
record, the code allows a minimum parking spaces. I believe it's one per, is it 250? And then at a maximum of 166.6. And based on the calculation that was done, they are in compliance with code.
Thank you, Joyce. Is that based on the calculation of a type 1 restaurant, or is that based on the MUPD calculation?
It's the overall MUPD,
So it doesn't break out specifically for the uses within that MUPD?
not the uses. It's for the MUPD itself.
Okay.
So they have the option of doing individual parking or the MUPD according to code, and they choose to use MUPD.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And Commissioner
We-
Powell, just one, sorry, Ms.
Go ahead.
Just one thing to note too is that with this project, there is a mix of uses which do have different, peak times. There's your personal services, there's your place of worship, retail, restaurant. So there's not going to be this max demand, at all times. So whenever we look at parking, we don't try to have a sea of parking. We try to make sure that operationally that this will work. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for that. Are you from here?
From Florida, yeah.
Are you from Palm Beach County?
I am.
Okay, because Commissioner Flores had indicated that he has been to this spot frequently, and I've also been to this spot frequently. So I understand there is a mix of uses with peak times. I just wanted to piggyback off of the question that Commissioner Flores had indicated with regard to parking. There's a lot going on in this particular location, and there's some things that need to be updated and changed, and we just wanted to make sure, at least I do, want to make sure that attention is being paid to those, and we're aware. My only real concern is we're taking a proposed building that was 1,360 square feet, it looks like, or is it 380? I think it's 360 square feet, and that was for personal services proposed. That's on the original site plan. We're doing a development order amendment to revise that for a particular restaurant. The parking on the original site plan is a little bit different than what's being offered here, and I understand that's based off the MUPD, not based off the previous, I think it was a CH8 that it was shown as. But with that being said, I'm okay. I don't have a major issue with it. We just want to make sure. I know you indicated that there'll be some updates to the parking in the area in terms of paving. We just want to make sure that things that are in the community, especially places where I go most weekends, are, or at least pass by, go through, are up to date and nice in the neighborhood. So thank you for that.
And just one more thing to note is that this is actually going to be the catalyst for additional renovations throughout this plaza. So we're really looking forward to, starting with this and then it moving to the rest of the plaza.
Thank you
for that. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, and first off, I don't know if we've had disclosures on.
We did do disclosures if you would like to do them, and we also have a motion and a second.
Okay. As it relates to this item, item number 3, I had verbal communication with Scott Backman and received email correspondence. Following up on Commissioner Flores's concerns regarding the circulation and especially the ingress and egress, I'd like to hear what the language you would propose.
Good. I just drafted some. Prior to the approval of the final site plan by the Development Review Officer, the property owner shall redesign the south driveway connection to provide additional storage for the drive-through operations.
Okay. I mean, part of part of what we, happens here, right, is, and that's a concern, that this thing is gonna stack and back up, and then blocking the ingress from military. You also have the shifting too. Your drive aisle is shifting right to the south. Is there a way to, I mean, obviously people hopefully are not going to just drive straight in, but it is sort of an odd thing to do so close to, the entrance, to have to, you're either going to make that right turn, but if you're heading straight into the plaza, you're sort of you're actually going to be heading with oncoming traffic coming at you, right? Because it looks like is that right? Am I looking at it correctly?
I don't, I mean, so that westbound, the ingress in that south driveway, they come in, so someone who would use the plaza other than the Del Taco patrons would head west and then essentially merge to the south a little, I mean, to continue to that westbound movement.
But, if you look and so you've got almost like two lanes on the north side of the aisle, right? And then you've got one lane to the south, but if somebody makes that, it comes, there looks like there's a potential conflict point there. I just want to make sure that there's a way for, I'm wondering even if, well, you don't want to put a median there, but maybe, I don't know, something to show, and maybe striping is going to help, but I can just see where you can end up with a conflict. But there is room for two cars. If they do stack, there is room for cars coming in to get around, right? Because what'd you say, it's 20 feet?
It appears, yeah, 20 feet. So, I mean, I definitely think that, given their engineer and their site planners a little bit of time to relook at this entrance, there can be some redesigns. I mean, just looking at it, they may be able to cut back that median a little bit more, remove that curve, and then, like I mentioned, if there's sufficient emergency ingress and egress elsewhere in the plaza, maybe there's an ability to reduce those widths. And, but yeah, it would just take some design and coordinating on both them and us.
Okay, all right.
But I think that condition would cover it.
Okay.
Okay, well, we do have, excuse me, Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I just wanted to point out, just to be clear, on this area that looks like a conflict point to the north, where it's a one-way on the west side, you do have two signs there, correct, that indicate that it's do not enter, so it's a one-way?
Yes,
And
sir.
you also show the same thing on the east side on the one-way to prevent conflict. Staff, has that been useful, or are there other alternatives for Commissioner Weiss's point, to negate conflict, or have the signs been able to be used to mitigate? Have they been successful with that?
Yes, Commissioner. I mean, it's typical that we use striping and signage within commercial centers to, guide and ensure people are not conflicting, just to improve circulation within a site.
Perfect. Follow-up, last question, I think. I see here in the drive aisle, there's a tree to be relocated. That tree that's being relocated, is it identified on the landscape plan already? I didn't have a chance to look at that.
Yeah, the tree's going to be relocated to the front buffer.
Okay, perfect. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Clerk, do you have the motion maker and the second?
I do not.
Well, since Commissioner Weiss has joined us, let's redo it. Would someone like to make the motion again to approve? Okay, so I have a first by Commissioner Marino, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any-
Wait, before, does the motion going to include the updated condition?
Yes.
Okay, so that wasn't in the motion, so,
So would you like to amend your motion, Commissioner?
I'll amend my motion to include Scott's wording. Do you want to read it into the record?
Sure. Prior to approval of the final site plan by the Development Review Officer, the property owner shall redesign the south driveway connection to provide additional storage for the drive-through operations.
And that would be on Exhibit C1.
Thank you.
And do you still second that, Vice Mayor? Yes. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you so
appreciate your
much.
comments.
I believe we are on to regular. We are going to do disclosures for item number 4. And we will start with Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. I had written correspondence that's been filed with the clerk. That's it.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no disclosures.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
I have verbal communications with Scott Cantor, Bradley Miller, Stephanie Guerra, Barbara Roth, Deborah Murphy, Dagmar Braz, Stuart Miller, and Susie Hayes. I have email correspondence filed with the clerk and a site visit.
I do not have any disclosures. Commissioner Flores.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Weiss.
Email correspondence been filed with the clerk.
Commissioner Sacks. Thank you so much. Do we have any cards on this item? Let's take cards first.
We have Barbara Roth, Stuart Miller, and Dagmar Braz.
Good morning again. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This is a project on Military Trail. It's actually the most southeast corner of the Cobra, 55 square miles. We understand the concerns about the neighboring communities and the access. I must very specifically thank Vice Mayor Woodward for the time she spent on site with First Vice President Debbie Murphy and Dagmar Braz, and with us on Zoom calls. Also, to Bradley Miller in working out what we think is a reasonable way forward on this for the safety and protection of our residents in that area and also those who are on that very eastern edge of the city of Boynton Beach. We appreciate the work that's gone into this, and we respectfully request that you approve this item. Thank you.
We will take presentations after comments. Next up, Commissioner Flores. Dagmar?
Yeah, no. He's going to speak first, right there
Okay.
at the mic. This is his first time, okay?
Well, welcome. We're
Thank you
glad
very
you're
much.
here.
I'm going to need to speak quickly because I know I'm on a clock here. So, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Stuart Mailer, and I'm currently the president of the Montreux Community Association, a position I've held for the past 18 years. We're one of 4 communities situated on Coconut Lane, and I've watched this area transform from black Angus cows, alpacas, goats, roosters, and even a donkey into the heavily developed traverse corridor it has become today. About 16 years ago, I met with Palm Beach County traffic engineer and Mo Al-Turk regarding serious speeding issues on Coconut Lane. At that time, cars were racing through the corridor, and tragically, one incident resulted in the hit-and-run death of a child. Traffic studies reported that the installation of speed humps and this board was needed, and the board, along with Commissioner Abrams at the time, approved them. Those improvements made a remarkable difference, and our community remains grateful for that support. Today, we're looking and asking for another critical safety improvement, a dedicated northbound turning lane from Coconut Lane onto Military Trail. I understand that this morning's discussion and vote may focus not on whether the turning lane will ultimately be installed, but whether its completion will coincide with the developer receiving a certificate of occupancy. Respectfully, that timing matters enormously. County data supports that this intersection is already one of the most dangerous and congested intersections in our area, with numerous accidents over the years, including fatalities. Traffic now regularly backs up 10 to 12 cars deep because of longer signal timing designed to improve safety. As a result, vehicles exiting the Walmart parcel already have difficulty turning west onto Coconut Lane to either cross Military Trail or to head south. Drivers are forced into frustrating situations where they either stop traffic to allow shoppers out or ignore them completely, creating stress, aggressive driving behavior, and the potential for road rage and additional accidents. Further, the situation has become so bad that drivers cut through the Walmart parking lot trying to reach northbound Military Trail. The delineators that were installed are horrible. They failed. Cars simply drove over them repeatedly until they became damaged, unsightly, and too expensive to constantly replace. And this is before the new commercial parcel is occupied by unknown tenants, generating unknown traffic volumes. The original approval for this parcel was for a bank. Today, we do not know whether future tenants will create minimal traffic or extremely heavy traffic. We also have the vacant CVS parcel directly across the street, which will eventually be redeveloped and further impact the same intersection. Compounding this further, the Board of Commissioners has already approved 38 additional single-family homes on Coconut Lane, very close to this intersection, which are currently under construction. Commissioners, this is no longer about convenience. This is about public safety and responsible planning. Although the cost of adding a turning lane may be significant, the risk of additional accidents and potential loss of life is an even greater cost. We respectfully ask that construction of this turning lane be made a required condition prior to granting any certificate of occupancy for this development. Without it, this intersection is going to very likely become even more disastrous. Infrastructure must come before occupancy,
Sir, if you
not
could
after.
please wrap
Not
it up.
after the consequences. Thank you for your time.
Thank
and
you so much.
consideration.
Good morning, everyone. When Bradley Miller came to us first to talk about this little project, it really didn't seem like a big deal.
Would you please state your name for
I'm
the
sorry.
record?
My name is Dagmar Bross.
Thank you.
Bradley Miller came to us and spoke to Barbara and I, and we said, "Oh, it's only an increase of a couple, feet and a couple of trips," and so we said, "But we need to contact the surrounding residents." There were 8 HOAs that were represented, and boy, did Barbara and I get our fannies chewed. They are totally disgusted with the traffic. Coconut Lane is 2 lanes. There's no way that they're going to do a 4-lane there. Barwick Road is also 2, a little bit into 4. Their only access points to get to Military Trail or out of the area is Coconut Lane, or you go onto Barwick to get to Lake Ida Road. It really is a bottleneck situation. So this is the opportunity that we can lock in getting that turn lane. This seems to be, it's not going to stop the developer. There's already a Walmart grocery store there and a Dunkin' and all those other things. But this just needs to be done now. This meeting came one day, and the following day we had the grand opening for the Kenyons Park, and I saw Commissioner Woodward there, and I just mentioned it to her. This lady's kicking it, let me tell you. She had her staff call me and said, Commissioner Woodward would like to meet you on site in an hour. And so dropped everything, it was pouring rain, popped in the car with Debbie and a couple other people, checked it out, and she is really spearheading this to make this happen. The other thing is there's an abandoned CVS that's right on this intersection as well, and we don't know what's gonna happen there. Rumbling is that perhaps it might be one of those satellite emergency centers, so we don't even know. I'm just going to say, I don't want to take too much time. This is important. This gives us the opportunity to make traffic in that area better. I hope you will support tying the construction of this turning lane onto Military Trail with the CO of this project. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It sounds like this is a project that people are in support of, but I do have a question. Hey, Bradley, good morning.
I'm going to insert myself here since I'm representing the applicant and haven't had a chance to speak.
Thank you for inserting yourself, Mr. Miller. It's so good to see you. I see that this is going from general commercial to MUPD, and I would think that probably produces an opportunity for flexibility here. It increases the size. I see 49,255 square feet. It goes to 53,155 square feet, an additional 3,900 square feet, and increase. What does that do, to piggyback off what Commissioner Flores asked earlier, what does that do for parking? Does it allow parking flexibility, or what's the impetus that drives this to go from general commercial to MUPD?
Understood. Good question. Just for the record, my name is Bradley Miller with Urban Design Studio and representing the property owner and the applicant here. I do have a presentation, but let me address your question first. The code has a provision in it that says once you go over 50,000 square feet, I think originally it was approved just under 50,000 square feet to probably circumvent the public hearing process of the rezoning. So going from the bank that's approved there now to this took it over that 50,000 square feet. The parking is actually based on the original rates. And so we have about 35 extra parking spaces throughout the entire shopping center. The retail space that we're putting into this out parcel, if you just looked at it in a tunnel, it's required 27 spaces. We have 25 spaces right there on that site. So with the MUPD and the overflow into the rest of the parking lot, we're more than covered there. I don't know whether I should present or answer, or, because I do have some.
Would anyone like them to go over the presentation? This is Commissioner Woodward's. Okay.
Or actually, I would like to,
Of course.
especially in light of the comments. And I'll be quick with it. So you know where this is at. The red is outlining the entire plaza. The blue is the out parcel itself at Coconut and Military. And we are going from, because of that provision in the code, it's a want to, it's not necessarily a shall, but it is, I think, better overall, but the parking didn't change, Mr. Powell. So this is where we're at now. This is what we were just talking about. So we're going from the just a little over 49,000 square feet to 53,000 square feet with the increase. It is replacing a bank that had 3 drive-throughs and a bypass on the east side of that. And then you can see the colored part of it. The D is I don't know where parcel C or building C went through the process, but it disappeared somewhere. So we're sticking to the plan. So we're really focused on parcel D here. And it is, these are the traffic numbers. It's an increase of just under 400 trips, which in traffic language is very, very low. And to emphasize this, and relative to the turn lane, these traffic numbers do not trigger a requirement by the property owner to construct this turn lane. In fact, it's a legislative Florida statute criteria that says that it's not his responsibility. In fact, not to point the finger, but it's the responsibility of the county to construct that. However, we recognize, I specifically recognize, in fact, we postponed from the April public hearing to continue these conversations. We really didn't have to do that. I like throwing out the term of no good deed goes unpunished. And we've had some great discussions with Cobra and Vice Mayor. Thank you very much for your involvement, and I think we have made great strides. I've worked on other projects around the corner on Barwick Road, and the residents are absolutely right. The traffic here on Barwick Road and Coconut Lane is bad, and there's something that needs to be done. Now, my representative hat with the client, we don't feel that it should be the responsibility of our client to build that turn lane, and by the add delete, staff is in agreement with that. We do have the add delete to put in, that turn lane be constructed prior to the CO. What we would like to add, and before I get to that, is that previously, with the original approval, the property owners already dedicated the right-of-way for the turn lane. So we've gone above and beyond here of dedicating the right-of-way, postponing, working with the vice mayor, working with Cobra and the residents to try to get this done as quickly as possible. This improvement wasn't even on the 5-year plan until the vice mayor's interjection here of making this happen. And I think it's a great improvement to build this right turn lane. So the condition currently reads that the construction happen before the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the building. The only issue that we have with that is we have no control. The county is actually putting in that improvement. And it's, by county's estimates, in the range of $800,000. It's expensive to do this because of a drainage issue there. So we don't really have any control of the timing of it. So what we would like to add to that condition is that, first of all, that it pertains just to this building. I don't want the property owner to be, if there's another occupant in one of his other buildings that change, be held up. But that there's a termination date of this with withholding of the certificate of occupancy. And we plugged in that May 1st, we figure we need about a year to be able to get through final site plan, permitting, construction for that to happen. So we ask that we appreciate the support and the cooperation and collaboration with Cobra and the residents there, and the vice mayor especially. And we ask that we have the approval with the addition of this underlined language that's on the screen.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Was staff going to respond with anything, or
The staff have
engineering
anything that-
specifically, if that's okay, just to answer?
Hi. Do you want to?
Hi, Joanne.
Good mornings, Commissioners. Joanne Keller with the Engineering Department. I think the add-delete addressed most of their requests already. It does say for Building D, and unless otherwise approved by the county engineer, but what we're not comfortable with is adding a date at this point. We can add language that says in conjunction with the District Commissioner's office or with Cobra, but I'd like to leave it as is, maybe with the additional potential language, but no date.
Okay,
You may.
So, and what's in the add delete was the conversations that we had was where I thought we had landed, is that with the tying the two together, and if there's any delay on our side with doing the road, that the county engineer could offer, not having to come back to this board necessarily, to close this out, but going through the county engineer. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with a hard date either. I mean, the rest of the board can weigh in on that. Just so everyone is clear, when we're talking about this right turn lane, it is this parcel. You can see where it is. And we went, it was a rainy morning, 11 o'clock, not a super busy time of day. And all the cars that were, there was like one car going straight, and the next 4 cars wanted to make a right turn, but because there's no right turn lane, all those cars got backed up. So getting this right turn lane built, and the right-of-way is there. It is in the plan. Where do we stand on design and timeline for us to get this done?
We're about halfway through design now. I'm expecting we can start construction in about a year and then be completed in 8 to 10 months after that.
Okay, so the timeline that we're looking at is
It's a little bit longer
a
than
few
the
months
proposed
past
date.
the May date. So,
And that's where, again, I'm kicking myself a little bit because, frankly, from a technical standpoint, we don't need to do this at all. So we're trying to help out, but at the same time, that property has been approved as a bank for, 10 years and no action whatsoever. So he has had interest in it being retail. He doesn't have anyone lined up because he wants the approvals in place to be able to market it. They just, as Ms. Keller indicated, we also have our permit plans ready to go. We have final site plan after this, and then the permit drawings go in. So I talked that through with our team, and we're looking, the May date came from that. So he ends up with a project that he can't occupy because you've heard of other county roadway projects that get held up for whatever reason, and nobody in the room today knows what that might or might not be. So that's why I'd like to put, some form that my client knows, okay, I might have to wait a little bit, but I have a date. So if there's more ground,
we were so close.
I know, and we did talk about this, and I think Joanne and I had the conversation too about what I didn't know about in the conversation was the timing of where my client was. Frankly, it's moving faster than usual. Most of the time you get through site plan and we're getting pushed to get the site plan approved. Well, are your permit drawings ready? No, they're 6 months off. Not in this case. They're about 85% done. So they're ready to roll.
Okay.
So if there's another date, another way to word it so it's not I don't want to come back a year from now and go, please.
No, and I don't necessarily want it to have to come back to this board. That's why we were looking at for a county engineer, if legal maybe would want to weigh in on options, just because I know this project isn't the sole reason that this is necessary, but this is very necessary, and it's beyond where it should be.
It's necessary today.
Yeah, it's necessary today, and it's
Understood.
already beyond, so us approving this, it's going to compound what is already worse than it should be. So
I think the way the condition is currently written is fine. It'll allow them to go to the county engineer and ask for relief if that's what they need. So
And my only
I don't
request
think
would
we need a
be-
date certain.
Thank you. And with the county engineer, as long as this is, if we're in progress and we're going to be just a few months, I would assume that the county engineer could let that move forward. But if something has happened, I'm comfortable with leaving it at county engineer, but I know that we have some other commissioners who would like to speak, so.
If that's the case, and as long as Ms. Keller's not leaving in less than a year to remember this, I say in jest, if it's something that she has that liberty to, the county engineer has the liberty to do that, then I think that's fine. Maybe, the addition of the language to me made it more clear, gave a time certain, which is a comfort level for my client, but we'll get copies of the record.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
I guess I got a little confused, and let's see if I can get some clarification here. Are we saying that you can't do your project until this road is built, or that this right turn lane is built? Is that what we're saying?
We can go through the entire process of the approvals and permitting and construction. We just can't occupy it until it's there.
So you're giving us the land to be able to create this, right?
That's already been given.
Right.
And then
But you gave it to us, correct?
Yes.
And then we're going to hold you sort of hostage until...
I didn't want to use those words,
Well,
but you're
I'm
correct.
using it, so
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't like that. I mean, I believe that if he finishes his project, he should be able to do that. Whether we get it done in time or not, that's our issue.
That's why we don't want a date in the condition, and we built in the flexibility for
Right, but then you're going to tell
by the
him that
county
he can't
engineer.
occupy until this is done.
No, that's not the intention. The intention is to provide
The
the
intention
flexibility.
doesn't mean what will happen. Could that potentially happen?
Do you want to make?
It's not the goal, no,
That is not the goal,
no.
but it could happen.
It's possible.
Okay, then I don't like that.
Would you like to make a motion?
Nor do I. That's why I was throwing out the putting a date in there actually says, okay, if the county, if you get to May 2nd, he can go get his certificate of occupancy, whether the turn lane has been built or not.
So how do we not do that? And I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Woodward, I can't see us taking a business and holding them up while they made a massive investment. They cooperated, they given the piece of right away for us to get it done. It's up to us to get it done. We should not hold a business who made an investment, I'll use the word again, hostage, but like not being able to occupy and start renting out this parcel when I guess it would be on us to get it done on a timely manner. So I don't like that caveat. I just want to put that on the record.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So for clarification, the wording in the amendments to the agenda today, under regular agenda item B4B, which says construction of a right turn lane on the east approach of Coconut Lane and Military Trail shall be completed prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy for Building D unless otherwise approved by the county engineer, is the out that the engineer has in order to give them the CO if the right-of-way is not completed. Is that correct?
It's if the work is not completed, but it's close or we were slightly delayed, it gives us the ability to issue or sign off on the CO.
Okay. So at that point in time, they can come to the board and say, we're done, you guys haven't.
Right.
Can we get our CO?
They could
I'm comfortable with that. Or well, actually, they can come to the board anytime they want to. But from the building perspective's point of view, they could come to you and say, we're done.
Right.
The holdup is not on our part, it's on your part, so we would like our CO. Is that what this means?
That's exactly what it means.
I'm actually comfortable with that. Thank you.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I like the word hostage. So what you're doing, though, is you want to, no, I didn't say you were the hostage. I think we're the hostages here because the county is going to pay money to perform services on that road, to complete the road. Then you get your CO. So you're lucky. We're paying for your ability to develop. Is that make it very simple? You don't get a CO unless the road is done. So why don't you wait for us to get the road done, okay? I often say, shovel doesn't hit the ground till the infrastructure is in place. So let's finish the road, do it in a right way, the correct way. She's an engineer. She knows how it gets done. Then when it's done, then you can go ahead and develop. Open up for business. I like that better. Don't you?
I do in most cases, except it's a Florida statute that it can't be required to be done that way.
Absolutely not, but it can be done by us. And if we say, you're going to wait a little while because we don't want you to go ahead and start developing, put all this investment in, and there's not a safe way, and that's what Cobra said as well. And when Cobra speaks, we listen. Cobra wants it safe. We all want it safe, and I know you do too. So you can go ahead and start developing.
A month later and...
Sir, just one second. I'm still talking.
I'm sorry. Never interrupt a woman when she's talking.
Or a gentleman. But I think we're all on the same page. You don't want to develop until it's safe. And your neighbors don't want you to develop until it's safe. Everybody's the same way. Let the county do its work in finishing that roadway. And when it's safe, and you all talk, I'm sure, when it's safe, then you can go ahead and say, open for business, and we'll all be there to cut the ribbon safely. Is there any issue?
Can I respond?
Yes, you may.
I think with the discussions that we've had here today, I'm comfortable with the add delete. It was, to me, it was still a little bit open-ended, but there was things stated here, and thank you for clarifying to those who did. But I think we're okay with that.
Okay. All right, so we're all on the same page.
Are you finished, Commissioner Sacks?
It needs to be done. That's really the bottom line is that improvement, it's needed to be done for probably 5 years, if not
And
more.
it would be good for your project and your client as well to know that it's done.
Understood.
I appreciate all the commissioners opining on this. Thank you, thank you, Joanne, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Did you?
Changed my mind.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're in agreement, and again, with direction from county engineer, not to hold up the project, but just to make sure that this is all happening as close to the same time, I'm happy to make the motion as stated in the add delete.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item number 5. We're going to start with disclosures. Commissioner Sacks, do you have any disclosures for item number 5? Take your time.
Thank you. Item number 5 is Martin Gardens at Delray Lake Estates. Yes, I spoke with Juan Macado, WGI, and correspondence has been filed with the clerk. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
No disclosure.
Commissioner Flores?
No disclosures.
I have written disclosure, or written items that have been filed with the clerk. I spoke with Beth Ann Middlebrook, Chip Carlson, Lori Vinegar, and Michael Skinian. No site visit. Vice Mayor Woodward.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No disclosure for this one, but I did need to amend my last disclosure. I don't know if I have to make a motion to go back and amend, but that last disclosure, I said no disclosure, but I did have an email on March 26th from Bradley Miller, Urban Design Studio, email correspondence for the previous project.
Would you add that to mine as well? I have a feeling that probably went to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
For item number 5, Commissioner Powell?
No disclosure.
No disclosures. Commissioner Marino?
No disclosures.
Thank you so much. Any cards for item number 5? Go ahead.
We have Beth Mahon.
Actually, it's the Westchester agenda item. I was trying to read it off the...
Okay, Westchester.
Westchester is number 6, so we'll add her to number 6. Thank you. Okay, no others. Does anyone want a presentation for this? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve item number 5, Modern Gardens at Delray Lakes Estates. I have a motion.
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
This is in my district. I appreciate everything staff has done. It's been a very good presentation, not presentation, but presentation to me, of course. And I would make the motion, and just want to note for the record, this is not going to create any adverse impacts on the adjacent properties. So anybody who's listening, this is a good thing. It's an excellent buffer, and I certainly move that we approve this on behalf of the...
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Sacks, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 7-0. We will move on to disclosures for item number 6. We will start from right to left. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you, Mayor. No disclosures.
Commissioner Powell.
I apologize. Written correspondence filed with the clerk. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Mayor. No disclosures.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
No disclosures.
I have written correspondence, emails received from Beth Bohan, and they have been filed. Commissioner Flores.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Weiss.
Email correspondence filed with the clerk.
Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you. For Westchester Village, I spoke with Bonnie Mescal and Beth Schwartz, and correspondence has been filed with the clerk.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Flores will take cards at this time.
All right, Beth Bohan, Barbara Roth, and Dagmar Braz.
Good morning. If you'd please state your name for the record.
Beth Bohan. I am the president of the Master Association Westchester. I forget what the name, Westchester Community Master Association. I'm also the president of Westchester Country Club HOA, doing business as Starlight Cove. I've worked with the developer in many meetings. They've been incredibly supportive of the community. They've met individually with communities. They've changed their plan. They've added things. They've moved things. The Master Association in our 10 communities and 1 commercial property are supporting this and have supported it. I'm not sure what, I think, I heard just today that there is a commissioner actually that has concerns with the workforce housing. As it's been presented to us over the several years, it's at least 2 years they've been working on this, the workforce housing was going to be built elsewhere. We are in favor of that. We support the workforce housing, but we think in our community where this property lies, that workforce housing, the density of that is not appropriate for our community, right there next to the golf course. We look forward to actually the development there because I think it will add to our Piper's Glen stretch of Westchester Master Association, adding the community there and the green space that they're adding to that, as opposed to just the empty par 3 vacant kind of part of the golf course that's there. And the Master Association supports it. Starlight Cove also supports it, which is part of the HOA. We've had many meetings actually I had a meeting last night about it and discussed it with our community. We are behind it mainly because the developer has been so supportive and concerned with making sure the communities around them appreciate what they're doing and support it. They're not just bulldozing us and saying we're going to do it whether you like it or not. So that's what the Master Association and Starlight Cove stand. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning again, Mayor, Vice Mayor. I just went back and checked my emails on this. It was 2024 that we began with the presentations from Bonnie Miskell and Beth Schranz. We appreciate the work. Barbara Roth representing Cobra. Cobra communities are those communities which have just been referenced. They had questions and concerns, all of which were addressed and answered, and came back to growth management to do another presentation after we went to our member communities for presentations by Ms. Schranz. So at that time, the proposal was to have those workforce housing units off-site, and Cobra agreed that for the nature of this community and the location, that it made sense. So I ask you to, consider that. But again, we have been pleased, and we thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Dagmar?
I do not wish to speak. Thank you.
And we are all surprised. Thank you. Okay, would anyone like a presentation? Or Commissioner Sachs, would you like to make some comments?
I really congratulate the Bonnie Miskell and her team for working with the community. And let me just say this to the community. Taking care of and putting these residential units in this area will really update your area. I know your area well. And I think that it would increase your property values as well. I think it's a good thing. And this is what we all like to see is applicants working with the community, because one of the boxes that I like to see checked is community support. And I think that we have that here. And maybe I was the commissioner that said that I wanted to have that workforce housing there on site. So when you stated a commissioner, it was probably me, maybe somebody else, I don't know. But I think this, we have seniors and law enforcement, police officers, firefighters, teachers who need places to live. And I would love to have a firefighter live next to me. I just think it's a wonderful thing to do, or a senior. And there are many communities where you can't tell the difference between the units. And that's one thing that I very strongly support, is that all units have to be the same. And that is an application that has been very successfully followed in Uptown Boca. They have units there. They have many, many workforce units. They're occupied by seniors in that area. And when they pass on, that unit is leased to somebody else at retail rates. The units are all the same. They have the same appliances inside. And I think that's the way we should live, with that type of diversity in our communities. And I think it helps us all out, as long as everything is the same. Same entrance, same exit, same use of the facilities. This is the beauty of Palm Beach County, the beauty of how we live and where we live. So that was my condition on this particular application. I'd love to hear from any colleagues as well.
Would you
Thank
like to make the motion before
I
we
would,
move
but I
on?
want to make sure that the condition for off-site use of the of workforce housing, and I'm looking at staff for this, if that can be a condition that we make for approval of this application. Who wishes to speak on behalf of the?
Good morning.
Huh?
Travis Goodson with the Planning Division. So I had worked with the applicant, Best Schrantz, or the agent for the applicant, Best Schrantz, and I believe we're looking to agree to the offsite exchange builder option to provide the 2 units. And if we could go to the PowerPoint version of it, we had worked out some conditions ahead of time, because pretty awful to do workforce conditions on the fly. So thankfully, we were able to work together and get those conditions done and organized. And so we'll flash them on the screen. And with Darren's approval, the board wants to incorporate the conditions into the motion.
Thank you.
Attorney Darren, did you want to add something?
Well, I was going to add something, but I had no idea about this, so let's see what they have to say.
Okay, if you could scroll up a little bit on this document. Keep going to the top, condition number 1. So this will be the offsite exchange builder conditions, and yes, Beth, they were updated as we had looked at them. So this would be the exchange builder option, where they would provide the 2 required workforce units offsite through an exchange builder. Commissioner Sachs.
Okay, good. So it'll be inside. It'll be part of won't be off-site, it'll be on-site.
No.
This is
The workforce.
Offsite.
No, I wanted it on the property.
Okay, so there's where
Separated.
we cannot require them to build it on the property.
Then I would have to just say no for the whole thing.
That is your privilege.
Okay. I'm sorry, because I thought we had an understanding here on the board that we would favor on-site workforce housing on those areas that were appropriate. And this is certainly an appropriate area
Commissioner
because we
Sachs,
need it.
because we didn't allow the applicant for presentation, I didn't realize we'd get to this
Oh, I'm
point.
glad she's here.
Let's
Hi,
allow
Bonnie,
her
go right
to
ahead.
give a presentation on the project.
That would be fine, or I could just speak directly to that one point, whatever your wishes may be.
If you would like to give us a 30-second
Sure.
overview and then speak specifically,
Okay.
I think that could be helpful.
First of all, I want to give special thanks to the neighbors. I have to say, in a long, long time, I've never met a group of people that were as willing to collaborate with us. And we truly believe, and we have a great design team, I truly believe this is
I
a much better.
apologize. Would you
want
please
us to
state your
speak up.
name for
Bonnie
the record?
Miskell, here on
Yes.
behalf of the applicant. My address is 14 Southeast 4th Street, Boca Raton, Florida.
Thank you.
Great neighborhood, great group of people, and thank you all very, very much for helping us bring forward a much better project. So this owner bought the property about 2 years ago. They bought the entire golf course. The golf course includes 27 holes, and it also included a mini par 3 course that is where this development is going to be constructed. And by the way, I do have a presentation, and I have a clicker, so let me move forward, and I'll probably do this wrong, but I did it right. The location is the southeast corner of Piper's Glen and South Jog. It's part of the Piper's Glen PUD, which is approximately 645 acres. It was approved back in the late 70s, I think 1979. So it's been around for a long, long time. We don't need a flume amendment because the future land use map would allow 1,936 units, and the master plan and the existing unit count is 1,764. So this is really just a modification to the development order, the master plan, to make it consistent with adding the 49 units, which is the request before you. Previously, the master plan showed a recreation parcel here, 19 acres. That is going to be divided such that 12 of those acres, and I'm going to skip through some of these, 12 of the acres, 12.4 acres, will become this new project, the 49 multifamily units, which are townhome-like units, and it is a for-sale product. And then 6.7 acres will be the country club facility that exists today. There are no changes to the 27-hole course. And you can
Excuse
see
me,
our neighbors.
Bonnie, is there a reason they don't want to, just skipping ahead here, that they don't want to have the units built on site?
It was designed in a way that it was not envisioned because we elected 2 years ago to go this route, and we have represented to the community what it is intended to be. Honestly, if it is important to the board, we will make it work. We will make it work on site, and I'll cut to the chase. In fact, that was where I was going to go. It is harder to do when you've designed it in a way. You started at a point that is well above the price point, and it is extremely expensive. But in conversations with Commissioner Sachs, we have some other opportunities that we may be able to elect, such as grants or other monies that may be available for affordable housing. And we certainly may pursue that in the future. So I will cut to the chase. If it's important to the board, we'll do it. The Exchange Builder Program we liked because it has been very successful, and more units, workforce or affordable housing units, are being built through that program than trying to fit the square peg in the round hole. But honestly, my client is eager to proceed, and we will do our best to make it happen. It's the will of the board that we'll defer to.
Thank you, Bonnie. We have a lot of lights on, so we're gonna
That is
listen,
fine.
see what everyone wants.
And we're happy to answer any questions
add.
that you may have.
Thank you. If you would mind staying with us,
I
you're
will
probably
stay
gonna
with
have
you.
some questions. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. Hi, Bonnie, how are you today?
Very nice to see you.
We've had a lot of golf course conversions in the past, and can you go back to say how many units were approved and how many are still available?
There are, under the land use, it's over 1,900, and let me go back to that slide. There are 1,936 units were approved in accordance with the future land use. The master plan was approved for 1,764, hence why we're requesting a change to show the new master plan approved density at 1,813. And that is simply to add the 49 units.
Thank you, and I appreciate the builder preserving the golf course, the 27 holes, because there are so many golf courses that are being built now, but they're being built for way more affluent than normal. And I appreciate that the builder realizes that this is a golf course for everyone to play, and by doing additions like this, it keeps the golf course in, for lack of a better term, in play. So I do appreciate that, and I'm comfortable with whether you do them on site. I am also one of those people that don't like the in lieu of, but I understand that if you can get enough builders together to put one large project in place, it makes your dollars go farther. But the district commissioner would like them on site, and if the builder is amenable to that, I would be amenable to that also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sachs indicated that it's important to her to have those units on site. I think it's also important for me. I don't know about the rest of the board, but the challenge I have is, and I want to bring this up, you said these are for sale units, correct?
They are.
The additional units that will be constructed, has the builder and location been identified already, or is that something that's still in the works?
That's the builder, or the builder and location for exchange, that would be in the works. That's something that we recently pivoted to because we had intended to do the in-lieu program.
Thank you. When you talk about affordability, these units that would be for sale units, or let me ask this question that this is more broad. Would they be inside of an HOA?
They would have their own HOA, yes, but they'd be part of the overall master association as well.
So the challenge is, with them being inside of the HOA, could the HOA fees alone push them to the extent that I know some of the HOA fees have become increasingly expensive here in Palm Beach County? Could the HOA fees push them out of the era of affordability?
Well, that is one of the challenges that you have, and this is only 49 units, so those fees are being spread across 49 units, which makes it incredibly challenging. You don't have sufficient bulk to spread those maintenance costs, and we do have a 0.59 recreation requirement here, or excuse me, 0.29, and we're providing 0.59. So we have a clubhouse, we have a tot lot, we have green spaces. We well exceed the open space minimum requirements. So we will have maintenance costs, and it's actually inclusive of, we have a lake, and we have a berm that we proffered to the community. We have added a lot of fluff on this one in order to make our neighbors happy. And by the way, all reasonable requests, we were pleased to do it.
Thank you, Bonnie. You increased the size of that lake, correct? Is that for mitigation purposes, or?
We have increased the lake. It was spread out between the two parcels previously, but they were green spaces, so we didn't have impervious areas. So yes, the retention requirements are going to require an expanded lake.
Okay, thank you for that. The last question I have is, we talked about the potential of HOA fees, what they would be, or they would probably push it out of the era of affordability. Would you happen to know potentially what the estimated HOA fees would be for a project like this? Is it 200, 400, 600?
Let me ask our team if anyone knows. We don't know. We haven't run those numbers.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hello.
I'm going to get on my soapbox because this is something I've been saying since day one. So I'm sorry that it's you today, but here we go.
Okay.
I am in support of Commissioner Sachs and her request. I'm not a big fan of the exchange program. I feel by you choosing to do the exchange program, you're getting a massive discount. I think I'm looking at staff. When you do the exchange program, how much do you?
It's 20%. You pay 80% of the fee. And by the way, we would proffer 100%. That is not our interest in getting the discount.
Right, but that's what happens
No, I
in this
understand.
program. And there's no way that I can build a house with 180,000 that you will contribute. Even if for the two houses, I won't even be able to build one. So I'm not a fan of the exchange program. And I will follow what the district commissioner does here. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Appreciate the comment.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you. And Commissioner Powell got on to the point I was going to make, or concerned about, and that's the HOA fees. Folks are not going to be able to qualify. We can build them, you sell them, but they're not going to qualify when you add those HOA fees based on their income.
Well, it will be a factor that we'll have to try to figure it out.
We're going to end up, and we'll end up with them not being occupied. I understand some of my colleagues' concerns, but the exchange program has worked very well. The issue is we want to provide housing that's affordable for people. That's the bottom line. And the exchange program has provided that. I have no objection to on-site if that can be accommodated, but I do, when I know I'm going to head into something and the numbers aren't going to work, why would I do it? So I think we have to proceed with caution because we have had to buy out these units in the past to try and keep them and then sell them at a discount. And I don't even know if how you make that work. So I have deep concerns about that when you've got HOA fees involved.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And that was one of my questions on the HOA, which I understand you don't have the numbers, but I guess my question would be for staff or legal. What happens if, once the HOA dues come out, no one does buy these units? What is the process for, it's two, right? 2 units?
Deputy Administrator, would you like to answer that?
There's a provision in the code in the workforce housing where if they weren't sold within a certain time frame, they would revert back to the developer for open market sales. And I would just add, on the HOA, absolutely share the concern that's out there that is considered when HED takes the applicants in for the workforce housing. Those fees are part of the qualifying that go along with it, and it does have an impact, but it is contemplated up front.
Okay.
So I like the in lieu. I don't think that affordable workforce, it goes everywhere. I mean, and again, with high HOA fees, it could leave a unit unoccupied and make it unaffordable for anyone to move in there. And then it just goes back to market rate. And so here we are. I do also, on the other side of that, want to support what the district commissioner wants. So if Commissioner Sachs feels very strongly that these 2 units should absolutely be built there, I am going to support that. So with that being said, I am going to turn it over to Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you, colleagues. I'd like to start with my colleague to the right of me. If anybody knows anything about golf, it's Commissioner Marino. And I appreciated your comments on this golf course. I know this golf, it's good, I don't play golf, but I'm always impressed by that Westchester. I've been representing that area in the legislature for many years, and it's a good area. And I'd also like to comment on Vice Mayor Woodward. You have a very good program that you've promoted for sale to help people afford housing to buy. Because as my colleague Commissioner Powell said many times, when you own something, you got equity. And that gets you up to not even having ever to qualify for affordable workforce, because now you have equity. And that brings you up into the American dream. And Vice Mayor Woodward, you've made that possible, that idea, for many people to own, with help from government, to own that little piece of property that becomes their American dream. And I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate my colleague, Commissioner Weiss, but I know that if it all fails, it comes back to you. It comes back to the developer. So we're not out anything, and no one else is. I'd like to see 2 units there of, and I often see this for seniors that can't afford any place else, and they're such wonderful neighbors. They watch the kids, and they bring over food. It's just wonderful to have a senior living next to you. And I want to thank you, Ms. Miskell. We go back a long time. And
Thank you.
With the tot area, she's worked, because these are going to be families. She's provided a little area for kids to play, preschool, shaded area, mature trees there. You've done everything to the people at Westchester, and you've done everything to make this appealable to everybody here in the county. So with that, thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Got a lot of respect.
Thank you very much.
So I would like to move at this time that that this be approved by my colleagues, and with the provision that they'll have and I don't know how to state it best, but I think that you'll help me out with that, won't you?
I'm going to help you out.
Okay, you help me out with that.
So first, for clarification, Bonnie, Ms. Miskell, are these units for the 2, you said for sale, are these 2 workforce units going to be for sale
That is correct.
as well? Okay. So if you, Ms. Daisy, if you could stroll all the way to the top here, we'll have the on-site workforce conditions. These are the conditions that would be incorporated into your motion, Commissioner Sachs, noting that the 2 sections that say for rent will be changed to be for sale. Otherwise, those conditions are in compliance with the workforce code.
Very good, thank you.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sachs, a second by Commissioner Flores. Commissioner Marino, did you have more comments?
I do have a question. The time frame in which they are vacant and they come because they haven't been able to sell under the workforce housing guidelines would be what, please? Where it would then go back to the builder?
We have the provision here, if you want me to go ahead. I need the glasses to do so. Okay, so it reads, the marketing of the workforce housing program units shall commence concurrent with the marketing of the market rate and shall continue until at least 75% of the for sale market rate units have been issued C of Os, but not less than 180 days.
That means it's 6 months in order to sell? And
It
if they
says
don't-
not
if
less
they
than
don't-
180 days, but when you reach 75% of your market rate sales. I'll read it again if I.
No, I'm looking at a time frame. I mean, 6 months isn't a very long time for empty. I mean, I'm thinking 2 years, but 6 months really is basically not,
It's a lot longer than that, so let me reread it.
Thank you.
Because the operative section I may have blown through very quickly. So the marketing of the workforce housing units shall commence concurrent with the marketing of the market rate and shall continue until at least 75% of the for sale market rate units have been issued certificates of occupancy. So, and it can't be less than 180 days. It's not, there's no way those 75% of the units are going to be fully constructed and ready for certificate of occupancy in less than a year. It's just not going to happen.
no, I'm just
So-
looking at a time frame. I'm thinking, if they don't sell, then we actually lose 2 workforce housing units. That's my concern. And if they don't sell because, and I apologize, I did not take the HOA fees into consideration, which I should have. If they don't sell because of the HOA fees, and I know there's communities range, there's so many ranges in HOA fees, and as you said, because there's not just an HOA fee, there's also a property owner's fee. So they have 2 fees. One will be on a monthly basis or quarterly, and the other one will probably be on an annual basis, but still they'll be hit with it at some point in time throughout the year. If we don't do an in lieu or an exchange, and these don't ever get sold, then we actually lose the opportunity to have 2 workforce housing units someplace else in the county. Is that correct?
You do convert to in lieu. So if they didn't sell pursuant to the time period that I just discussed, it then converts back to you have to pay the in lieu fee. So
That's not what I took away from this, because what I took away was it comes back to being retail, but I didn't hear the in lieu then.
Well, there's another section that says that you will then have to pay the in lieu. So the county will get the money, it will not get the on-site units.
But we're not losing the opportunity to get some sort of offset for the 2 workforce housing units.
That is correct.
Then, okay, thank you. That was very clarifying. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
So, because these would be on-site and comparable to all the other units that are there, the insurance for them, the value, even though they're going to be sold at a discount, the value to replace them will be at the replacement value. So there's no discount on insurance. So they're going to have to qualify for insurance on whatever these are, if they're $400,000 or $500,000 units. They're going to pay the HOA fees associated with whatever. They're going to pay the master association fees. I mean, I'm okay to do this, but I just don't know how somebody who makes qualifying income is going to qualify to pay all of that on top of their mortgage. But if that's the will of the board, so be it. At least we get the in lieu fees, but we won't get the units.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Please say that the motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Nice to see everyone.
We are going to move on to item number 7. We are going to do disclosures.
Disclosures on number 8.
It's for number 8.
Yeah, the 7 and 8 go together. 7 is legislative, 8 is the quasi-judicial portion.
Okay, we are going to do disclosures for 7-8, not 6-7. Commissioner Marino.
As our 67 counties, anybody who has that hat, it says 6-7 on it. So, but I have no disclosures on item number 8.
Commissioner Powell.
No disclosures.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
No disclosures.
I have none. Commissioner Flores.
I have none, however, on a previous item, for the item 4, Walmart Neighborhood Market, I did receive that same email from Bradley Miller Urban Design Studio, so that has been filed with the clerk.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Yes, I had verbal communication with Josh Nichols.
Commissioner Sacks.
None on 7 and 8.
Thank you so much. Do we have any cards? Please call them up.
Drew Martin.
Welcome, Mr. Martin. If you would please state your name for the record.
Drew Martin, I'm here on behalf of the Sierra Club. My objection to this is just the change from low residential to commerce, again, adding more density to the ag reserve. And, you know, I opposed this change in the East Coast Mulch Corporation originally. And again, I just think that we're continuing to chip away, no pun intended, to the ag reserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just want to let Mr. Martin know that this is not in the ag reserve.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Dagmar. Okay, do we need a presentation on this? We will take them separately. I will entertain a motion to approve. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't need a presentation on it, but I did have a discussion with Mr. Nichols regarding some conditions on this project. This is surrounded on 3 sides by residential, and I just want to ensure that going into this, and I know there's an active operation happening there right now, but with this plan, to make sure that we're thinking forward about how this new site or this new site plan and will interact. So you and I had a discussion regarding the hours of operation, that it'll be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and that there will be no processing and manufacturing outside of those buildings in the storage area.
That is correct.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, would you like to make the motion?
So with those conditions, I will move to approve this.
I have a motion by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Commissioner Flores. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see if the motion carries 7-0. Moving on to number 8, the companion item. Would you also like to make that motion, Commissioner Weiss?
I will move to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Commissioner Flores. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see if that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 9. We will do disclosures, starting with Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item number 9, I spoke with Bonnie Mescal, Darren Montgomery, and correspondent. Am I in the wrong one?
Yeah, Forest Oaks.
I gotta get with the guy from,
Take your time.
okay, I have none.
Commissioner Weiss,
No disclosure.
Commissioner Flores.
Yeah, I have written and verbal communication with Ken Delatorre and Carl Albertson Jr. No site visit.
I have no disclosures. Vice Mayor Woodward.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Powell.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Marino.
No disclosures, but I just want to make sure that Commissioner Sacks did the right disclosures for was it the previous item? Because you just said you spoke with Bonnie, so I don't know I don't recall if you put that into the record.
Thank you so much. I think we're okay, Maria.
Yeah.
Maria to
Thank you.
Maria.
Okay, just checking.
Thanks, keeping an eye. I'm keeping an eye on you too.
Now that we have disclosures, do we have any cards? Do we need a presentation? Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Scott, would you mind just clarifying that there's been some communication regarding some other residents? There's confusion as to what's being actually approved today versus what some of their concerns are. So if you could just address that so that everybody understands the difference between the two, and I can make this motion.
Absolutely. So, good morning again, Scott Cantor, Director of the Land Development Division. So this application here is to abandon a portion of a public drainage easement. So some of the correspondence seems to be fairly unclear really what this is. In a residential subdivision, a drainage easement does not provide storage and water quality. So there was concern by abandoning the easement, there would be some effect elsewhere in the overall development, because I think you think of drainage easement, you're thinking of possibly storage and water quality. But in the Unified Land Development Code, only water management tracts are used to provide storage and water quality. So this is really conveyance. It's moving stormwater from one structure to another. So there was a pipe that was taking roadway drainage through the site, and they were tying it into their own roadway drainage system. But unfortunately, when we identify those sorts of existing drainage, we have them put a drainage easement over the pipe. Yeah, a drainage easement over the pipe, which they did here. Unfortunately, it overlapped a landscape buffer that has required plantings in it, and the code prohibits an overlap of more than 5 feet between drainage easements and a buffer, because if you put trees and landscaping and shrubs over a pipe, it damages the pipe. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So they actually rerouted that drainage to go earlier in the roadway tract, so the easement isn't needed anymore, because it's only around the pipes. And further add, the actual roadway tract itself already has a platted public drainage easement. So the drainage rights will continue to be protected. This is not adding impervious area to the site. There is no negative drainage potential for this application. It's already been constructed and operational. Another thing, there were some, because it's a golf course conversion that's been approved for 5 years and construction's been going on for a few years, over the years there have been other issues that were brought up in the communications from the residents related to environmental, utilities, and every time we receive correspondence, we respond. I send it to the appropriate agencies: Palm Beach County Water Utilities, Environmental Resource Management, Lake Worth Drainage District, and ERM. Our ERM has worked with, they coordinate with DEP. There were some mounds of soil at one point within the development. We had them tested. DEP found them to not be contaminated. Everything is meeting all of their MPDES permits. So I just threw a lot of stuff out there, and because we did get 20 contacts from the public from various concerns about the overall project, but none so much were really about the easement, except for the concern that maybe this would cause some sort of drainage issue elsewhere in the site. But this is really a localized easement that just conveys water from one structure to another that no longer is needed because it doesn't exist.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Scott, I think that was an excellent explanation, but I know you have a graphic that you can show exactly what was going on there. Some of us are more visual learners. Can you show the graphic of exactly what's happening?
Okay, so I highlighted in red there, coming off of Park Pine Drive West, there was a storm pipe, and it was conveying that drainage through their site, and you can see I think there's a, they had added a structure. This is what the original plan, how it was approved. They add a structure there, they bring it up and then tie it into the roadway drainage right there. But you can see that is overlapping a landscape buffer. And it really came to our attention when they came in for permitting with the landscape section about the overlap. So then what they ended up doing is it's hard to get the cursor, there it is. They added a structure right here, brought the drainage to a new, so they really added 3 structures, one there, and one there. And then, so they tied it into the roadway tract earlier on than what they were originally gonna do, thereby clearing the landscape buffer and no longer needing the easement because the structure is just not there. And then, like I said, the actual roadway tract itself has a platted public drainage easement, which was like the exact same rights that the easement we're here today to abandon had.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that clarification. I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 9.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0. Item number 10 was postponed. Number 11 is for a workshop, which has been noticed for 1:30. So we are adjourned until 1:30. We're on recess, excuse me, not adjourned. Oh. I was going to take comments after we did our workshop, but if you would like to say something, Whitney?
We were just asking because for us to come back, our staff would need to come back to.
Let's do comments now then from planning staff. That'd be great.
And I have no comments,
You
so
have no
thank you.
comments? Okay, Vice Mayor Woodward?
Thank you. I did want to direct this staff. I was approached by a couple down in Montoya Circle in South County. It's a Jewish couple that's doing clothing recycling within their community. And right now they have a bin they're collecting at their synagogue. They contacted us to get a permit to add a few collection sites in the community. And apparently we don't allow for that in our code right now. It's recycling, it's not allowed for clothing or shoes. So I am asking to direct staff to modify the United Land Development Code specifically for the recycling drop-off bin use to allow for the collection of clothing and shoes in the allowable zoning district so that they could then apply for a permit to have these located. Is there no objection?
I assume with this direction, you're going to bring us back information, language, and so on?
Yes.
That we're not just approving it today?
No.
Okay.
She's directing us to draft it up, and then we would come back with a drafted language.
And we would understand better what we're looking at?
Yep.
Okay. Commissioner Flores?
I have some experience with this in Green Acres. Not a fan. It has created a lot of issues, and we have to be very careful how we do this so that it doesn't become a blight in the community. Because what you will see is people dumpster diving. You will see people opening them up. You will see the area around it becomes a nuisance. So however we do this, we have to be very careful that the location of it is not like out in the street, that somebody is going to be responsible for making sure that it is maintained. So as we look to draft something up, I think working maybe with Green Acres, I think they've seen some of the issues, might be good for us. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The question that Commissioner Flores brings up and what Commissioner Woodward brought up, would this be, your request is for unincorporated Palm Beach County? Would that wouldn't impact our municipalities because we are only talking about unincorporated Palm Beach County, but I do have questions with regard to process and what that looks like for sure. But that's my concern. That's only unincorporated Palm Beach County, right?
Only unincorporated. We're looking at it as it's existing as a temporary use. So they would have to annually come in and get a permit. And yes, we've had those issues in the past. Why the recycling bin originally just said plastic and glass is what the code currently says. So we will build in some maintenance and inspections and, yeah, not on the street, specific location or criteria, make sure that they have to maintain it so that they're not gathering the bags outside the bins as well. That's what we've also seen as well, so.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Is SWA part of this process?
No, but we can bring them in.
I would suggest that you do. Thank you.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Where, Commissioner, Vice Mayor Woodward, did you want to have this drop-off publicly? Where in unincorporated?
Thank you. So the couple, they were looking to enter into agreements with, I think perhaps one was a local Walgreens.
Can't hear you.
The couple was looking
Yes,
to
the one
enter
that-
into an agreement with, there was a local Walgreens, there was a Publix, and they were looking to get the permit. And thank you, Commissioner Flores, for what you brought up, because they actually had a long list of potential guardrails for themselves, because they did not want it to become a dumping ground, even including up to cameras, locking systems,
But, you know-
and with the permit system that we would have, that if it's not being maintained, then it would fall to code enforcement to issue fines and have it removed.
Wow, we are looking at, in unincorporated Palm Beach County, we have Vietnam veterans, we have breast cancer. On 441, we have a drop-off for breast cancer. It's open 7 days a week. People can drop things off there. We have,
Those are actually
right
not
on, just one
legal.
second, on Clintmore and 441, we have a retail store that's open for anybody to drop anything off. We have Faith Farm, which has been there for 50, how many years, Dagmar? 50 plus years. You can drop off and they help you take it off your truck or your van, and they resell it for folks who are going through alcohol addiction and drug addiction. So I think we have to be very, very careful. And it's wonderful that you're helping this lovely couple. If they want to call me, I can help them have it picked up at their door, which I do monthly. I give things out monthly. So we should be very, and please, can we, maybe, it's okay if we coordinate on this, right? Mr. Lester, Mr.
No.
Attorney, because I'll be more than happy to help them. That's my, it's your, you have a little bit of my district too, in unincorporated. Be more than happy to help them without having to go through cameras. As we're getting into a big issue here, and it could be quite expensive. What do you say, Mr.? Can we coordinate on this so that I can help
You can
these
talk
folks?
to the couple, but you cannot talk to Commissioner.
I would never talk to Commissioner Woodward. No way. My neighbor, oh my goodness, have them give me a call. I'll work with them.
Well, just to be clear, I mean, this is meant to be a very specific one. This is the Orthodox community, and the clothing, it's, I'm not going to say it's a fashion choice, but it's a very specific clothing that the women
I have 4
wear.
Habads in my area,
And it's not
one
going to be
building now.
widespread use throughout the county. This is for the Orthodox women, and they want to do this for themselves. And again, it is happening in the county. It's actually not allowed. Any of these other pickups, they're not allowed.
Oh, well, I'd be more than happy to help this Orthodox couple for the women. If you would like to, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, give them our number. We'll help them out. I've got a lot of Habads in my district, and I know what they're looking for. I'll be more than happy to work with them on it. And thank you for helping them out, for thinking of them.
This is actually in District 4, though, the location. So,
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other direction before our planning and zoning staff leaves? Commissioner Flores?
I don't know if it's adequate. I want to do an offsite proclamation. Do I do it now, or do you want me to do it later?
We are doing it now.
All right. So I am requesting an offsite proclamation honoring Dr. Jesus Armas, who is retiring from John I. Leonard.
I have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say the motion carries 7-0. Wendy?
I just want to advise the board that we have finalized our contract on the reorganization of the Unified Land Development Code. So we are starting that with the consultant, and we will be coming back and giving you guys periodic updates. But we have a target date of April for final adoption. So obviously, we work backwards in time, so hopefully we'll have it done, the reorg, by December, so that we can move forward with all the public hearings. But I at least wanted to give you guys an update that we're working with our consultant on that reorganization.
That's great news. Thank you, Wendy. Okay, everyone, we will see you at 1:30.
All better because you have been in our lives. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Sachs. I'd like to now call up our County Administrator, Joseph Abruzzo.
Commissioner Sachs called Andre the Prince of Palm Beach County. But let's add some context to that. In what, 1985? The Board of County Commissioners, by official proclamation, gave the title to Andre, Prince of Palm Beach County. You may not know this, but he got challenged all the way to what, the state Supreme Court? Because under the Constitution, we cannot give out royal titles. But Andre got one. He prevailed. And to cement it, years later, in the early 2000s, when I was in the State House, the incoming Speaker of the House said to Andre, you know what? It's nice that the County Commission did that, but the state needs to recognize that you are the Prince of Palm Beach County. So the Speaker signed a House proclamation that the Florida House of Representatives acknowledges that Andre Fladell is the Prince of Palm Beach County. But Maria brought, no, it's true. So it should say Prince Andre Fladell. Jennifer's about to have a heart attack now. We'll change it. So Maria gave incredible remarks about how Andre brings people into service. And I just want to share a brief personal story of how I met Andre. It was the 2000 election, and I was at an event for Joe Lieberman, just got selected as vice president, as the first Jewish American to ever be on a presidential ballot. And Andre came up to me at an event, because it was at a home, and he said, who are you and what are you doing here? And I said, I'm Joe Abruzzo, I'm a student at Lynn University. He's like, you like government? I said, well, I'm running for student body president. And he called me, he went like this, called me in the room next door in this home, and he writes, Prince of Palm Beach County, with his phone number, with a big circle around it, and he said, call me. So about 6 months later, I called him, and if for all of you that know this, and I know Irv probably has been through this as well, You went to his chiropractic office where he had volumes of binders of newspaper articles from the 70s on up to that point. And he sat me in front of his desk and he put these binders and he started flipping them open. And he flipped it open. He said, "Do you know that Palm Beach County Fire was created in the chair you're sitting in?" And he told me the entire story about how Palm Beach County was created, or Palm Beach Fire was created in his office. He said Cobra and a bunch of different, I'll spare the details, big umbrella HOAs. He had binders of how they were all created in his office. And he started telling me incredible stories about how a highway was going to rip apart our community, drive right through this area. But Andre led the charge to halt that highway, and I'm sure he'll speak to a little bit about that. But his impact on the community, from many of us being here today, I could tell you, and you know this, we wouldn't be here where we are today. Adam, many of us. So Andre, you've shaped so many lives with what you've done. You truly are the Prince of Palm Beach County. But before I get off, I want to just say the South County, former South County Civic Center, has a lot of meaning. Many of us started our political careers reaching out to the community here. My first ever speech, ever as a candidate, was actually with Ted Deutsch. We were candidates together for the first time, and we gave our first speech, and we were nervous as heck, both of us. We looked at each other, and Ted said, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "You are?" He said, "Yes." Presidents have been here. President Clinton, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. I could go President Joe Biden. They've all addressed the